Have you all seen this video?
Bad Bunny is a Puerto Rican living in Puerto Rico who is privately taking advantage of the same tax program that he is publicly condemning.
So in that interview with Philip DeFranco, Logan Paul does what Logan Paul typically does in this situation. If you've seen any of the 10 or 20 different apology videos he's done in his career, you know exactly how this goes. Very apparently sincere. I had no idea. Just tell me how I can become better. He talks about how much he loves Puerto Rico, Act 22, which is Act 60 now, but we're going to keep calling it Act 22. That's what it's better known as now. And in the anti-foreigner sentiment in the island, I'm sorry, the anti-Logan Paul sentiment.
I mean, that's why I'm on the show today, because I do need to kind of stick in the spokes of this anti-foreigners, and not even anti-foreigner. I get that. Anti-Logan Paul, anti-Jake Paul. Like, it does hurt.
And then, of course, he decides to put Bad Bunny's name in his mouth. So by the end of this video, we're going to respond to Logan Paul. We're going to talk about his defense. And then we're going to answer his question. Well, what can I do? How much is enough? And in the interest of transparency, give this one disclaimer. I am not a resident of Puerto Rico. I am Puerto Rican. Both sides of my family are full-blooded Puerto Rican, but I don't live there. So I just wanted to make sure that's clear out the gate. So I'd say in this interview, he could probably bring his defenses, what he had to say, into three major topics, which is how much he loves Puerto Rico, how much he's given back to the community, and then how Bad Bunny is doing the same thing and how he's a hypocrite. So let's go down them one by one. So I love Puerto Rico.
I love this island. It is incredibly beautiful. I call it my home. Like I said, I love this island. I'm proud to live here. I'm obsessed with this place.
Now that part kind of annoys me because it's a little bit more telling than you'd think. Because at first you sit there and you go, well, that's good. I mean, that means he wants to see the best for it. Well, my reaction is a little bit different because it's like, no shit, you love the place. The problem is you look at it like any other state in the United States, right? Like going to California or going to Florida. Puerto Rico is home to an indigenous people that are from there. It's a place that you are showing up to, being a part of a system that oppresses them and marginalizes them. Who gives a how much you love the place? Who gives a how much you love the people there? Your presence is pushing those same people out. If somebody wealthy moved into your hometown where you grew up in and bought up all the property and raised all the rent everywhere, and the people who were born and raised there couldn't even afford to live there anymore, would it make you feel any better to know that that wealthy individual really loved the place? How about I give back to the community? I've donated charity.
I recently donated $25K to Talle Salud. Jake and I refurbished multiple boxing gyms in Puerto Rico, $50K each. Again, boots on the ground. Jake's team and my team helping out separately, giving out aid, giving out relief. We've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars. Jake put on Amanda Serrano, a local Puerto Rican boxer who was making $10,000 a fight and is now making millions under his promotional company.
How much money do you make? How much more money do you make now that you live in Puerto Rico? And in that difference, what fraction of that do you think you give back to the people? So realistically, Logan Paul is probably saving millions of dollars in taxes by living in Puerto Rico. If you take into account all the individuals that are there on Act 22, we're talking about hundreds of millions, if not billions, of tax revenue that is not going to Puerto Rico because of this tax credit. Gentrification and pushing people off the island is not solved with charity. It's not solved with going door to door. It's solved by not being a part of the problem in the first place. And then there's Bad Bunny. Now, what's funny about this part is that it almost didn't happen. Philip DeFranco was wrapping it up and gives Logan Paul the final word. Is anything else that you wanted to talk about before we end this? And I feel like, you can't know for sure, but I feel like Logan Paul was this close to not bringing it up. He had this look of like, I don't know if I should do this, but better judgment didn't take over.
But I mean, you mentioned Bad Bunny, which I'm not sure if that was on your list of things to ask about, because I saw that video too. It's just it's tough, man, because I love Bad Bunny, and I think he is an amazing entertainer. I think he's a generational talent. But I do find it hypocritical because he Bad Bunny is a Puerto Rican living in Puerto Rico who is privately taking advantage of the same tax program that he is publicly condemning.
Is that true?
And I know this. His act is called Two Cientos Caritos, and so does his manager. And I see things like this, and it hurts. And there are local Puerto Ricans who know about this. So I see this music video that has stuck me in the middle of it, that surrounded by context that makes me look like a vulture.
I'm moving to Puerto Rico.
Again, while I love Bad Bunny, I cannot personally support the hypocritical nature of his exploitation.
I want you to go back and I want you to listen to that interview. I want you to listen specifically to that part. And you notice what his problem is. His problem isn't that Act 22 is hurting the island. No. His problem is Bad Bunny is taking advantage of it while being against it, and somehow doesn't see why that's ridiculous and why that makes him look tone deaf. As first of all, Bad Bunny is Puerto Rican. I mean, we could really just kind of stop right there, right? Bad Bunny was born in Puerto Rico. Fuck, I wasn't born in Puerto Rico, but I would sleep just fine moving there and benefiting from Act 22. Because Bad Bunny is where his people are. I would be returning to where my people come from, where my ancestors came from, where my grandfather and my father came from. You are none of the above. Act 22 was designed specifically for foreigners to come there and take advantage while doing nothing for the poverty amongst the Puerto Rican people. And what really lets you know that this supposed sort of, I just want to clear the air and I just want to let you know what a good guy I am and how much I love this place, how much this is my home, how much all of that is bullshit, because he felt the need to call out Bad Bunny when the heat is on him, that this white dude evading millions of dollars in taxes legally feels comfortable talking about another Puerto Rican artist who has spent time and money calling out the injustice that is visited upon the Puerto Rican people, and you think it's the same thing. That's wild. So I said I was gonna take a stab at answering his question. So how much is enough? What percentage of how much you saved should you give? How much charity should you do? Each and every one of those ideas that you were throwing out lets you know that you are missing the point every single time. No one needs you delivering food to people's houses. Nobody gives a fuck about that. If you wanted somebody like me who doesn't even like you to be like, hey, you got to give it to him, you should be out there in coalition with Bad Bunny, calling out the injustice you see on the island. You should be pushing for the fact that Act 22 shouldn't just be for non-residents, foreigners more accurately. Because this problem isn't about you giving out money. The problem isn't you delivering baskets of food or whatever. The problem is systemic. Your presence creates a systemic problem. 4% of Act 22 recipients on the island, 4% created jobs. When you really zoom into what Act 60 is doing, it's bringing people here that are buying up investment properties and flipping them and making neighborhoods unaffordable for the people who used to live there. This isn't stimulating the economy. This is a benefit to foreigners to come there and suck blood out of the land. There is a 40% poverty rate in Puerto Rico. More than 200 schools have closed, according to the documentary I know you watched. What are you doing about that? So while you're busy chasing that money like you've been doing since you were a teenager, making that the priority of your entire existence, if you were to spend a fraction of your time trying to change the system within Puerto Rico, trying to become a force that does something about the 40% in poverty, does something about affordable housing, if you wanted people to believe you that you actually care, nah, it's not charity. It's not a percentage of how much you give. It's what you do to change the system, because Act 22 recipients, as it creates a systemic problem. Listen, this isn't about Logan Paul. Logan Paul is one of dozens and dozens of Act 22 recipients there. And it's not, Logan Paul couldn't fix the system if he tried. He would get a lot more respect if he was out there trying. Like if I saw Logan Paul out there in the Puerto Rican government, his new home, talking about how everyone in Puerto Rico should be benefiting from taxes like this, saying that, yes, this is my home and I would be here even if there was income tax, even if there was capital gains tax, even if there was unrealized gains tax, even if it wasn't a tax haven to be here, I would be here. Is that true? That's when we would believe you, because you'd be down there treating that place like it was your home, not like it was a tax haven. So how much is enough? When Puerto Ricans can live on their own land, can afford their own rent, can access their own beaches without being displaced by rich white foreigners pretending to be allies. If you like what I have to say, don't forget to do all the stuff, like, follow, share, definitely comment. I would like to hear anything you all have to say. Do you disagree? Do you want to tell me off? Go ahead. Let me know. Please take care of yourself. I love you. Don't forget to hydrate. See you next time.